So our brains are fried.
Oh, no. Okay, well, I don't think this is really going to take the full 2 hours. And if I talk fast, it'll go faster, but I don't want to do that to you. So just a little bit of information before we start. So I don't have actual access to PayScan. I do have access, but I don't have Monterey set up. Is Billy Lawson telling jokes? I didn't get to read the whole thing. Okay, Billy. Uh-huh. Now everybody's at least awake. So anyway, so I'm Jessica Turner, the community director at the Parks at Monterey Bay in Monterey, California. And Monterey has not switched over to Yardi. So I don't have full access to PayScan. So I've already warned Shannon I'm going to be using some things from her site, which has been my go-to as I've gone through this and taken a look at everything. So this is the dashboard, and we are going into Elevate Production. This is just what it's called. I don't know why. And then we're going to go into Live. So here is Procure to Pay or PayScan. So this is the invoice dashboard. And so you have your invoice dashboard and you have your purchase order dashboard. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to skip the invoice dashboard first and go into the purchase order dashboard.
I'm sorry, Jessica. How did you get there again?
I'm sorry?
How did you get there again?
To the Procure to Pay?
Elevate,
Okay, so it's Elevate, this one. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, you were going a little too fast, but I see it.
Okay, I'll slow down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Production, and then what was it?
So you click on that, and then it's going to open Procure to Pay. And it always opens, I think you can set it to open in the PO dashboard, but this is the invoice dashboard. So we'll get to this in a second. But I'm going to start with the PO information. So we have the PO dashboard, and it's loading for me, so that's fantastic because it doesn't always. Just I think because my access is so weird. So these are purchase orders, and I have access to Pack Beacon, Yuma, Huachuca. We'll see Belvoir on here. So I see a bunch of different POs. You're not going to necessarily see all of those depending on what your access is. So we can see this one is for Yuma. Looks like it was put in by Mrs. Shu. And so looks like she put this in as procurement, but we'll talk about that in a second. So that's what the PO is going to look like. So let's go ahead and put one in. So we're going to go to purchase order. We can either go to the dashboard and add a PO through the dashboard, or we can add a PO through the dropdown. I have mine defaulting to Huachuca and Yuma, just because that's the ones that I play with the most. But this display type is very important. It doesn't have a red asterisk, but you have to choose the display type for your site. And that is because if you don't, it's not going to show you the correct units here. So I think like for Josie, yours is Irwin and Moffett and Parks, Huachuca, Yuma, but we do have Belvoir, Benning, McDill and Andrews, and then Pack Beacon. So very important that you put that in. And then we can either click on the ellipses and select a vendor here, or we can, trying to let Tom in. Okay. Or we can just start typing. So I'm going to do for imprint. And then it'll populate with the vendor. For this, I'm doing marketing. I'm going to skip the payment due. And I'm going to put this again is not required, but it's not required, but yeah, Shannon, that would be fantastic. So it's not required, but it is recommended to go ahead and add this. So I'm going to put TSS, since we have the tenant satisfaction survey coming up, TSS signs. And then I don't need to add anything in these right now. This workflow isn't going to populate right now. And you'll notice that there's no, right here is binning. So anyway, so you go down to the bottom and you're going to enter the property. Now, my understanding is that right now we need to use the corp properties, the property codes that include the corp. So for Huachuca, which is the one that I usually use, it's 9538 corp. And we use the corp code because that's the one that ties to the actual budget. So if you use a different code, it won't be tied to your budget. You won't be able to check your budget. So make sure that you're using the correct code. And that may change, but that's my understanding right now. So again, we're going to put the description in here. We're going to put a GL account. Now you can, again, click the little ellipses and you can choose. You can search up here. Or you can just start typing. So I'm going to put survey, since this is associated with the resident survey. And then we scroll over a bit and we're going to do quantity ordered. This is so similar to ops technology. So for those of you who use it frequently, I don't think I'm in your test, Shannon. I think I'm in your live. But
saying Benning was there, but
oh, Benning.
if they're in their portal, it might not be.
Okay, so we'll just say that the signs are $50. I don't populate that. Now, project codes. Most of us are familiar with project codes. The storm damages, remediation, historic cost tracking. And so if there's something that you see that you need, talk to your community director and they'll have to request that. So last year we did storm damage. But anyway, that's available. It ties everything that you spend into that project code. And then here's what, this is why you need to make sure that you use the correct display type. So these are the unit codes for Huachuca, I believe. And so then if you were attaching this to that unit, you would just select that here. I'm not going to do that since this is just a general purchase order. And then you go up here and you click save. We're over budget, probably from all the other POs like this that I've put in recently. I really do need to go in and close those out. And so it asks you for an explanation. Why are we over budget? And then you just type your explanation and save. All right. And now we have the menu on the left-hand side. And we already know we're over budget. We got that message. But if that doesn't pop up, you can always go and check and see where you're at in your budget. If it doesn't pop up, that means you're within budget, but you again can check and see how many open POs you have, how many open payables, what your month-to-date budget is, what your year-to-date budget is. So a great little tool to use. This is going to tell us that it got sent for approval. So I'm sorry, was there a question?
There's two.
Okay.
One asked about GL codes, if GL codes will remain the same, and will it allow you to generate a PO without an address?
Yes. So you can generate a PO without the address. You don't have to put in the unit code. And GL codes do change with Yardi. So if you don't see that, I think most of our budgets were built this year with both RealPage and Yardi GL codes. But definitely check and make sure that that happened for you, because they will be slightly different. Again, you don't necessarily have to enter the GL code, and you can also check the description of that GL code in PayScan so you can see if it's attached to the correct general ledger. Did that answer your question? Okay. Okay, so we've talked about manual PO creation, how to check the budget if you're in a PO. And then let's go up and take a look at the workflow dashboard. Please populate. Okay. All right, I'm just going to go to the PO dashboard. All right. So you can see the PO that I made right here, 7355. Now, once Shannon, if Shannon were to approve this, see it's in Community Director Review. You can see it was created by me on this date at this time. And then if she were to approve this, it would, you would have it approved, and then you would go in and receive it. Since I don't have the ability to have this approved right now and then receive it, I'm going to show you how to do that with another PO, but I'm not going to save it. So we'll go back to the dashboard. So you can see the status is in progress on these. I don't know. Maybe we'll look at a maintenance PO. I really am trying not to mess anything up, Shannon, I promise. And anything I did before, we'll just pretend like it didn't happen. So we have 462 that are not received. So these are not received. These have been through the process. They're approved. And we're going to go in and pretend to receive it. Maybe. Okay. So we're in the receive submenu. And you can receive just by clicking these. If you need to partially receive, it's the same process. You just reduce the number here, and then you can just receive that partial amount. Now, if you were to come in here and you had received something and then realized you didn't actually receive that item, you can unreceive it here as well. So we're entering in RealPage, so there'll be the RealPage codes once we start entering everything, that it's when we would go to the RDGL.
Is that right, Jessica? Because Kimberly asked if during the dark period, should we be using the Yardi GL codes or RealPage?
Shannon's going to check to make sure. I think, are you entering it into Yardi, right?
During the dark period, we're still entering into our RealPage. We
Then-
won't be doing anything into Yardi until we do all the data entry in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would think that you would continue to use RealPage codes, because otherwise it could get very confusing. All right. We can add a reoccurring PO. So it's RPO in the system. Add RPO. And it looks the same. You're going to go through the process. Again, display type. Use either your site or whatever you're directed to use. And then enter the recurring here. Now we'll go to, okay, I won't use Leavenworth. I'll just go back into what you got. What should I order? I'm going to do 4 imprint again, just because that's how I'm tracking these. We'll say that we're paying for Duet.
Keychains.
Okay, keychain sounds good. All right. What would that be? Resident something relations. We'll go with that for now. We're going to order 200 at $1 each. We're not going to tie it to a unit. And then we're going to hit save. Now, it's going to pop up and it's going to tell us that we need to schedule. So this is where you pick which months you want to post. You can choose quarterly, or you can choose monthly. You can clear it out. You can choose which day of the month you want it to post on. And then this is where you're adding your start and end date. Now, very important for reoccurring POs. For the very first reoccurring PO, you have to go in and post it. The system doesn't automatically pick it up. And so you have to post it. If you don't post it, it's not going to show up. Oh, you're supposed to enter Yardi GL codes in RealPage. Per Kirk. Okay, so then you would select which POs you want to post, and you would click Post Selected. Yes.
So I just had a quick question on, I just wanted some clarification on the Yardi PO, Yardi GL code. So what's the difference between the Yardi GL codes and the current GL codes that we're using now?
So they're different just because of the different systems. Most of them are about 1 number off.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that when we went through the budget period. I think that Brooke actually went in and added the Yardi codes next to the real page codes in our
Okay.
budgets. So you should be able to see them there.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make sure my team get some, that clarification helps us with where we're supposed to be entering. And then during the dark period, so I'll make sure the team gets those so we can start using those ASAP.
Okay. All right. Any questions over this? Everybody got it? You have to post that first PO, recurring PO. Otherwise, the system is not going to pick it up. Okay. You can, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I put it in the chat. I didn't want you to move on and then have to go back. Will Yardi send the recurring PO to the selected contractor once it's generated? Or is it going to remain the same number every month?
That's a really good question. I know I think I saw Linda join.
Yeah, I'm here. So what the system does, it generates the RPO number, right? And then on the recurring schedule time, it'll create that PO for you. So the underlying PO from the recurring PO. The underlying PO has its own number.
Okay.
So every time a PO is generated from the RPO, it'll have its own number.
Okay. And then will it automatically notify the contractor of the new PO number? Or do we need to make sure we send that out each month?
You'll want to make sure that you send it out.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Jessica, I'm not sure if you go over that later.
I will. Yes.
Okay.
I skipped it,
didn't-
but thank you for the reminder.
No worries.
Okay. So I went into the receive PO. So you go to pay scan, purchase order, receive PO. We're going to talk about the bulk receive function. You can search by adding your property here. You can look for certain vendor POs, who selected or created the PO, and search here. So then you would be able to go in and bulk receive these. So you click receive by checking receive, or check unreceive if that's what you need to do, and then save. I don't recommend this just because you need to make sure that you did receive exactly what you ordered. But for some items, this is probably okay to do. All right, so let's go back in to my PO that I created. Hopefully we can. Okay. I'm gonna not mess anything up, I promise. Okay. So when we went back into the PO, here's you can receive it. You can see the emails that were sent. So these are, the emails going from Chad to Shannon. So you can see all of the activity and the process that it's going through. But right here, you can print the PO, you can copy it and make an identical one, or you can email it. And so we can email billing or whatever the company email address is that's in the system. And I don't know what all of that is, but you can attach a copy of the purchase order detail. And you can print the PO, and then you can send that, and it'll send it directly to the vendor if that's how you normally function. Any questions on that?
So just to clarify, you can send a purchase order or email a purchase order from Yardi directly to the contractor once it's generated.
Yeah, it has to be approved. but
Okay,
yes. So
Okay.
once it goes through the approval process and it's approved, you can send it through there.
okay, thank you.
Sure. All right. So I've shown you, I think, everything on the PO side. Linda, did I miss anything?
What if we have to make changes?
Oh, you want a change order? Okay, perfect. So up here in this corner, so again, once it's been approved, you can go over to the change order. Hopefully this doesn't break anything. It shouldn't. We won't save it. And here you can make changes. So you can, this doesn't populate. So whatever is on the PO is not going to transfer here. So if you do a change order, be prepared to fill this out again and update it with whatever information has changed. So if you're updating the GL account, you're going to put the new GL, Josie, you're going to put the new GL account in here, the description and so on and so forth. I know we were a little concerned that somebody would accidentally put in the wrong information. So it's just very important that you are aware of this and ready. But you can always go back. I'm not going to save this because somebody would be really frustrated with me. Kristen, you had a question?
Yes, once you do it, when you're doing the change order, once you go in to edit and you click the change order, I know you said it kind of takes out all the data. Will you lose that data if you, so you have to hit save, right?
So if you fill it out, okay, so here's the thing. So here's the purchase order and we can see all the information here, right?
Okay, yeah,
So we can see everything. This is the GL code. So we go to the change order and this is all gone. You can go back to the previous page by clicking this arrow and it'll take you back to the original PO.
okay,
If you hit save, then the change order, I think you can still see the details, but the change order is going to go back through the approval process. So at that point, you won't be able to update anything.
Sorry. So as it's in workflow, you should be able to modify it.
So we can modify it before it's approved?
Correct.
Right, but that's not a change order.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
No, I was saying that if you save the change order and you're like, oh, I have to come back and
Oh,
change
okay.
the GL account. Yeah, you can still make the update.
Right, okay. Okay, any other questions on that?
I do have one more.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I don't mean
You're
to ask.
fine, please.
Can I make it a requirement for certain users to put in an address and a GL code? Because what I'm worried about is POs in my department, right? Because we make so many,
Mhm.
being created and then not being able to go back and search for that PO by address, or you know what I'm saying? Because then on the back end, we're going to end up with a mess at the end of the month when it comes time to receiving. So not that my team would forget to do that, but just I would like for that for my team to be a requirement if possible. If not, I mean, it is what it is, but I didn't know if that was an option or not.
Sure.
To make
So,
certain things required.
so the GL code is required. And I think that as far as making the actual unit address required, we wouldn't do that because the address, not every PO has an address associated with it. So although you could require that of your team, you can give that direction. I don't think we would want to set that as a standard requirement. Okay. And then I saw the question, can we close it? So there's this little box, and I'm not going to click it. So you could put it in common area. Okay. So you can click this little closed, and that will close out the PO. And so you don't have to do that just from, you don't have to be necessarily focused on a change order or whatever, but you can click close and it's going to close the PO.
Can I add that if it's within workflow, so if it's with the community director, for example, and I think this ties in line with Josephine's question here. If it's in workflow, the community director can choose to void it. And by voiding it, that'll also close the PO out.
So when it goes for approval, then the community director can either send it back to you for corrections or changes, or they can void it out.
So is that the only person that has authorization to void the PO?
I really don't know at this point. I
Okay.
think that might be fluid. I can't show you that part, Josie. So just like when we were looking at the emails sent, so we can see that this, this went through and went to Shannon. And then you can see that it was approved. So Shannon, is Chad approving any POs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he can approve them or he could void them at that point too. Or send it back. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Kristen?
Can you clone a PO or am I jumping ahead?
Nope. So that is, let me go back over here. That is that button right there. Did you see what I clicked?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Okay. So this copy purchase order is going to clone it.
Okay, noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so it says PO with all details copied successfully. And so now you have a copy. And then you would just update as necessary. Okay. I'm not going to save that one. All right. Any other questions on POs? Okay. All right. So Marketplace, this is very similar to Ops Technology. Hopefully it's going to come up for me. Looks like it's going to try. Okay. So Marketplace, basically the same process as what we're using now. And so you would select whatever you wanted to purchase. It's going to go into your cart out on the retailer site, the vendor site. And then you're going to either save as a quote and enter your PO. which I guess is the recommended, that's what you should be doing. But this, I believe, you can also purchase just directly. And I believe it's going to create a PO, and I'm not going to go through the whole process because I don't know what side I'm in. Let's see. Okay. So here you do your GL coding. I'm in Belvoir, so I promise I will not actually purchase this stuff. And then you're gonna
Best
go, yes.
You best not.
And then you proceed to check out. Typically, I think it brings up another screen and just make sure that you really want to do that. But again, I'm not going to go through this whole process. It's pretty simple. And maybe once I actually have Monterey P2P, I can show you all that later.
Okay, so is that just like a different, like a separate option to purchase? Like, I'm a little confused. Is that just like a second option to place the?
Yeah, so if you're ordering from one of our vendors, so HD Supply, Lowe's, Office Depot, we typically go through the live shopping just through the system. So it sounds like maybe you're not super familiar with the marketplace on Ops Tech.
No. I'm not.
Okay. So in Ops, we have the same option. So you go in, you choose the vendor that you want to purchase from.
Mhm.
And this actually enters a PO for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
you don't have to go through and enter a new PO for this. This enters the PO for you. And it automatically orders whatever you're ordering. So you don't have to contact the vendor. But it is limited. So there's not, all of your vendors are not going to be in here.
Okay.
It'll just be these big national vendors.
Are they able to add other national vendors? I know we have another one down here.
I would think they could, but I don't know what the process is for that. So Linda,
What vendor?
Chadwell Supply.
Yeah, we have partnership with Chadwell, so that would require setup on our end. So we just need to know like the vendor code, the property, your phone number, in case there's any issues with the order. I think that's it, and then like a case out to our team to contact the vendor.
yes, ma'am.
Just want to note that any requests to settings or like adjustments like that one, Tom, if you could send it to Tiffany, she would field all of those on behalf of everyone on this call to get that to Yardi to make sure that he gets completed and we're tracking it and all that good stuff. And I can put her email in the chat just in case some of you are not familiar with who Tiffany is.
Okay. Any other questions here? Okay. So we're going to take a look at invoices. And that is the first dashboard when we first logged into PayScan or Procure to Pay that came up. And so these numbers, instead of being the PO numbers, these, well, you can see the invoice numbers. So I'm going to click. And you can see the invoice. You can basically see the complete overview here. So this is what we had ordered. on this invoice. Something else I haven't mentioned is that you can see the milestones here. So you've got where it was input into PayScan and then where it's at right now. So right now this invoice is with the corporate accounting for review. You're not going to see much different on the workflow for this. And this is who it's with right now. So this is the approver. You can also continue to check the budget here. You can download any attachments. You can view any memos. Basically just a lot of good information here. So you'll see here is the invoice number. This one doesn't have a Voyager PO number, but it was a marketplace order. So they ordered this through the marketplace, which we were just looking at. And marketplace is the one who created that order. So if you were to receive an invoice at your site and you needed to add that to the system, you're going to go into, again, PayScan, invoice, add IR. IR is invoice register. So you're going to come in here and you're going to click to add the PDF. And we're going to pull up a single invoice. Okay, so I'm going to click done. And you can see that I like this little highlighter. So you can kind of magnify whatever information you're looking at. Now, I don't have a purchase order for this in the system. I'm going to try one and see if I can get one to populate. No, it's not received. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not going to keep trying, but if you have a PO here for this vendor, if you know the PO information for this vendor, you can type the PO in here and it's going to pull all the information from the PO over and autofill all of the required fields. So it makes it pretty simple. You just pull that over and then you would save it. Sorry, I can't show you more detail, but Shannon, you got a PO number that I could put in here? Promise I won't save it.
Yeah, 7375.
No. Okay. Anyway, so that's to do a single invoice register.
What
Okay.
property are you trying to do it for?
That's a good question. I don't
Does it matter?
know.
Let me see if I can find you one real quick.
Okay.
Or try 7433.
There's the you can try 7214. Did you try that one already?
No, I'm trying it right now. Oh, yay. Okay. That pulled it over. It didn't pull over the invoice number. Now, again, we're using a PO that is not attached to this invoice, so this is just for demonstration purposes. But that's how it would work. So if you had the PO number on your invoice, you would enter that PO number here, it would populate with the information that matches the invoice. And then since this is blank, you would enter the invoice number here. So you go back to find the invoice number, which is a very long number. I'm not going to enter the whole thing. And then you would verify the total amount. Okay, so this is where you're checking to make sure that the information on the invoice matches what's on the PO. And if not, then the PO would have to go back for a change order, or maybe the vendor typed something wrong. Then you would save this. Again, I'm not going to do that, but you would save this, and then it would go for approvals. But that is by entering the PO here, that is what is linking this invoice to that PO. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're going to make sure that you have that information in. That's again for the individual invoice register. But you can also do this for bulk invoices as well. And I feel like it's very similar to our invoice import that we already use. That is not what I meant to click on. Hold on. So we'll just go from here. So Linda,
Yeah.
The bulk invoice import.
Yep.
Is it import IR?
So add IR is an individual one, like you have
Right.
one in hand. Import IR is the bulk one, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So this says single page invoices. Payee, we're not going to fill out any of this information because we're going to upload multiple invoices. I think we're going to upload multiple invoices. It says it's reading it. Okay, so it populates with, it has this transaction ticket. And so it's going to show you. So we have invoice 1 is the transaction, and then the different pages of each invoice populate here. Now what you can do is you can add a separator so that there's this little bitty, it looks like a paper with a line in it. And you, Linda, did you just laugh at me?
I don't have a name for it either. So,
so you want to put those in between each, excuse me, you want to put those in between each invoice just as a separator. And so like this one has a couple pages, you'd skip on. I think that is, this is a very long invoice. Go down here. So we could put another one here. You can always remove that transaction separator if you realize that you did something wrong. You can also delete pages. So if you have, we get those invoices that have like just advertisements or update pages, and you don't really want to upload that, or you don't need to, you can delete that out as well. And you just click the little red trash can, and it deletes it. Be careful when you do that because you cannot restore it. So only delete if you're sure. And then you can submit all invoices. Again, you don't need to fill this all out just because we're submitting multiple. So we submit all the invoices, maybe, and you have a new batch ID. So this batch ID is 8273. And I'm going to click that just so that we can go over there. So it took us to the invoice dashboard. And so you can see that I've added a couple of these before. These are the different invoice numbers. Maybe. No. Okay. We're going to my invoices. That's going to show you what you just put in. You can look at the milestones. You can see that I've input these today and that they're in the data entry status. You can click on that, and here is where you can attach this invoice register to the PO. Generally, that would be our accounts payable person or my operations manager who would do that. There is also an email address where you can email in the invoices. So if you have vendors who prefer to do that, but the process remains the same where the purchaser needs to review the invoice and make sure it matches the PO before it gets submitted to be paid. I'm pretty sure that's the same on most sites. Yes, maybe. Yes, Kristen.
So when we're doing the batch upload, right? And I know we don't have to fill out the, the little information on the screen. Does it autofill that? And how accurate is it? Does it ever, because I know some invoices can look a little sketchy, right? And so some data might be incorrect. Is there a something that you would recommend to make sure that, the data input is correct, or?
So for this one, like I said, so you're uploading the invoice and then you're associating it with the purchase order. So you're going to go through and verify that all the information is correct. It doesn't just automatically fill it and leave it. And then once you enter all this information, you can click validate. And it's going to make sure that everything matches and you're good to go. Good question. You still have your budget, but I don't have a post month in there. I don't have any information filled in, so you can't see any of that right now. But again, this is your option for uploading multiple or bulk invoices. Let me look at my information and see what else. So you can also search for an invoice. Yes, please.
Sorry, do you mind if I speak to the those defaults that were at the top? So if you have a batch of invoices for your property or for a specific vendor, they're not mandatory to populate. But if it's all for the same property, all for the same vendor, populate that before pulling in your invoice into that page, because that helps to cut down on data entry. But as just mentioned, if you have a PO, then the PO will help reduce down data entry too.
And we should have POs for anything that we're doing at the site other than utilities. I'm trying to find my list of everything that we don't actually put in POs for. So we have to have POs for maintenance repairs, maintenance contracts, capital expenditures, unit turns, utilities, administrative and marketing. And then, but if like corporate's entering a PO or entering an invoice, that doesn't require a PO. Asset management reimbursables don't require a PO. And then employee reimbursements do not require POs. I also should talk about the approvals. So facility directors can approve up to, and hopefully this hasn't changed since I got this information, but facility directors can approve up to 5,000. Community directors approvals up to 15,000. And then your regional property manager up to 50,000. After that, it's going to go to your regional VP and then your senior VP and possibly the executive VP. So do you want me to repeat those or are we good? Okay. Okay. So let's go to, I went to invoice search. So if you need to find an invoice and you're not sure the invoice number, you just want to see if it's in here, you can search through this. You can choose your vendor here. You can type in your information or the vendor information. Let's see. And then you can enter the property created, any of that. You can even search by the invoice number. So I don't have any invoices in here for Imprint, but you can search for those invoices here. I'm going to show you one of the reports that I think that we will use frequently. So for my site and for, I think, the other California sites and maybe the no-coast sites, we look at how many POs we have that have been open for more than 30 days. And these are POs that have been requested. The PO has been approved, but it hasn't been received. So I'm going to search for not received, and I'm going to search for open PO. And then I'm going to add the order date, and I'm just going to go back in time. And then I'm going to go back to January 3rd, because that would be 30-ish days from today. And so these POs are all over 30 days old. So you can see the dates that they were entered. You can look at the PO information here. So you can see who created the PO. Looks like Melissa updated this in October. But these POs are outstanding. And generally we want to get our vendors paid. You know, we follow the process where we give the PO to the vendor, or we order the supplies, and then we want to get the invoice as soon as that work is done or as soon as the supplies are delivered. And so this helps make sure that we are able to just make sure that those are received. Yes. Kristen.
So in some instances, right, we go in and we make a PO and say it's multiple things on one invoice, and only a portion of it is complete, and it might be a little while before the rest of the purchase order is done. Is there a way to partially receive that PO, and when they go in to invoice for it, they can invoice for part of that PO? Does the other part remain open, and how would we go about if they need to invoice for the secondary part of that PO? Do they use the same purchase order? It's we run into this often.
Right. And that's a really good question. And I actually didn't think to ask that when I went through my training. Linda, do you know, or is this something we need to look at?
I'm sorry, I missed part of it, but it sounded like, can we partial receive?
So not just partially receive, but partially receive the PO and then get invoiced for that part that we've received, and then later get another invoice for the same PO with the remaining order.
Yes. But I just spoke to Kirk this morning and he actually changed that. So if it's a partial, then you will need to create like a new PO for the other shipment.
Okay.
Understood. Thank you.
Shannon, do you have a PO that's open that you need to approve?
I did about 30 minutes ago, but
Hmm.
not
Now you're grounded.
now. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So I can't actually show you how
Oh,
to.
wait, I lied. Well,
Oh,
I do. I have a couple that somebody named Just Turn put in for 4 imprint.
Oh, hey, approve those. And then we'll cancel them. But wait, show us. So
I was gonna
let
say.
you- I'm gonna, what?
I was going to say, do you want me to show you?
Yes, please. I'm gonna let you.
Here's hoping it works. Fingers crossed.
Just one more question before we move on to the next thing, right? So say we generate the new PO. So we have to go in and do a change order, right? Because only a portion of it is done. That will have to go back through the approval process, correct? Before they can submit the invoice.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I click here and I can review the PO. Yeah, Marjorie?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, Ms. Shannon. So I do have a questions when we do a bulk POs. So we do gutter cleaning and power washing. So sometimes we do have like 20 of them that we need to create a PO for. But I mean, we've been doing this since October, and I've been trying to do like 20 altogether in one PO, but I cannot go beyond 15. I cannot go 16, 20. 15 is the limit for it, for us to create a PO. So if we have the option to add rows, that means we can go more than 20, correct?
Linda?
Yeah, you can add more than 20. You can add as much as you want. You'd have to hit save first.
No, it won't let me save if I go beyond 16. I did that multiple times and I had to like start all over again because it's only allowing me 15.
Yeah, so can you save on 15 and add the additional line?
I mean, is there a way we can do more than 15 instead of, because sometimes like last, I think it was December, I did at least 190 and I have to do 15 at a time, and that's a lot.
So we can expose more lines, but it's going to default to that many lines. And I don't know if we want to do that.
I mean, can we just remove the default because we don't want to do like create 10, 15?
There needs to be some sort of baseline.
So I think if we remove the default for your site, that's going to affect all the sites. And it may be cumbersome or, whatever for the other sites. So I think that is something that I can take down and we can talk about. But I don't want to make any promises.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Sure. And then Melissa, that's a really good question too, as far as, so her question is if we're ordering from Lowe's and receive several invoices, if we're having to create new POs for each invoice, it looks like it's going to duplicate. So then what happens to the PO that's partially received? I do think that this is something we're going to have to talk to Kirk and Linda about. If that's the guidance that we're getting, that instead of attaching multiple invoices to different POs, I think we're going to have to talk about that. So I will add that to my list of stuff and we'll ask the question.
Okay, so would you like me to approve this PO?
Yes, please.
Okay.
My first approved PO in PayScan.
You want me to do both? So you can
Sure.
play with both of them. Okay.
Okay, okay, so she approved the POs. Were those were in your dashboard? That's where you found them in order to approve them?
Yes, workflow dashboard is where I go.
So I am going to go to the workflow dashboard. I don't know why I thought there would be anything in here for me. I'm going to go to,
Are you sharing?
oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, can you see? Yes, okay. So I haven't gotten that back yet.
Are you listed as an approver, Jessica?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be an approver because I don't really have a site yet to approve.
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh.
But you know, at least Shannon was able to show us what she approved. So,
What is it that you want to do? What step?
I think we've actually, because I've shown how to receive the PO once it's approved. The POs were pretty minimal, so you approved it. We should be good on that end. Yes, Kristen?
Can you show me just one more time, from the screen you are currently on, how you got to the screen where you generate your POs?
Sure. So you're going to go to PayScan.
Where's, hang on, I can't see. Oh, wait, pay scam. Okay.
And then purchase order. And then you're going to add a PO, or you can, from the dashboard, click on the right-hand side, add a PO.
Is that a different window that you're in, Jess? Because we're only seeing the main page of Yardi.
Let me try again.
While you do that, I just want to thank you for being our SME for P2P, Jessica.
You're welcome. It is an adventure. Okay, now you can see my dashboard. All right, so here is the pay scan, purchase order, add PO, or you can go here to add PO. Do you see both of those options? Kristen, okay. All right. So let me look at my agenda real quick and make sure that I didn't miss anything. One thing that I forgot to mention is the out of office. So in ops, we have the option of setting our out of office, or the POs that need to be approved move on in a couple days. They move to the next approver. Kimberly, you know where I'm going with this? So in P2P, there's an admin function that allows you to set an out of office. And I'm not sure, I asked Linda earlier, and she explained to me that it's an admin function. But we actually have to go to someone else to have that put in to place on our P2P. So the recommendation is you download the mobile app, which is the legacy Procure to Pay mobile app, and log in through there. I logged in earlier to see what it looked like. And it looks very similar to what we're seeing on the screen right now. I'll send out the login information for that when I send out my notes following this meeting. But there is an app, so you have the ability to approve those POs from anywhere. No, it's not ideal, but that's what it is right now. So. The other thing, no, I think that was it. Any other questions? No? Okay. So I'll send out a follow-up, and then if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Like I said, I don't have complete access because Monterey is not set up yet, but I will help, and I'll try to find answers as soon as I can. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome job, Jessica. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jess.
You're welcome.